Hi, folks. Welcome to our Sunday afternoon time. I'm home finally. It was a wonderful trip to Louisiana, but it's over and I'm back home. I miss my Louisiana family. David will be with us in a minute. He's got some things he's got to finish up before he can come in here. When you come in, please hit the thumbs up button. Let YouTube know that you support us and support our channel. I need to move my camera around. I see I'm kind of down in a well. That's a little better. Hi, Sean in Alaska. Hello, Lisa. It's good to see you too. David will be here in a minute. How you doing, Sean? I hope you're okay. Bandana Grandma. Hello, Miss Susie. How are you doing? Happy birthday a little late now. It's wonderful to see you guys. I was just saying I'm back from Louisiana. I had a wonderful trip. Spent some time with my Louisiana family, that being the Broussards, and had just a marvelous time. Part of the way I hated to come back, and the other part I was really glad. Well, thank you, Susie. My birthday is August the 31st, so we've got a couple of months, but it's coming. It's coming. Then I'll still be a year older than you again. Oh, Sean, I'm glad you're doing well. That is great. How's the weather up there? Is it still cool or has it really turned hot? I woke up yesterday morning and looked at my thermostat inside, which has a thermometer out on the front porch, which reads the temperature there and the temperature in the house, and it was 96 degrees at about 8 o'clock in the morning here and 56% humidity, so it was miserable. But the rest of the day, you got a little less humidity, so yeah, it is. Still cool, 54 right now and rain. Oh, Sean, that sounds wonderful. I would love something like 54 degrees. Hello, Ellie. It's good to see you. I'm glad you made it. I did learn some things while I was in Louisiana. I learned how to make traditional Louisiana roux, and that's a base for a lot of soups and stews and things like gumbo and gravy, rice and gravy. Hello, Lisa Johnson, and hi, Pete. It's good to see you. Welcome. My goodness, we're getting quite a few folks here already. You hit 70 for a high yesterday. Well, that's not too bad, although, I don't know, probably feels pretty hot to you, doesn't it? Hello, Celtic Bear. It's wonderful to see you today. I'm glad you stopped by. I have been very busy. I am putting up 87 pounds of tomatoes in the next 2 days. I've got 22 jars, pints already done. Another 15 I put in jars this morning before the live stream, which will have to go into the canner. And then I can't tell you how many pounds left to go in. But I think I'm not going to just do tomatoes. I think I'm going to do some tomato sauce or some pasta sauce or something like that. Yeah, you're right, Sean. That is a huge amount of tomatoes. And my organic grower that I get them from has a bunch more waiting for me. So, Lisa, it gets so hot here so quickly. We have to get them in the ground early because it's already getting too hot for them to set fruit anymore. Yeah, Pete, I am being busy. It's a lot of work, but all through the year when I get those tomatoes off the pantry shelf and cook with them, they are wonderful. Better take my vitamins. I'm going to be tuckered out. Susie, I'm already tuckered out. I was telling David earlier, I'm drug out already. This is my 4th day in a row of doing canning. I have 25 cans of gumbo on the shelf right now. I said cans, 25 pints of gumbo on the shelf. I've got 17 fancy, spicy ones, and the rest are the ones I can eat. So, hi, darling.
Hi, sweetie.
You have people saying hello to you already.
Hello, folks. How are you today? Good to see you.
And look, we don't match today.
Nope, I did that on purpose. I looked at what you were wearing and
it
chose something different. Yeah.
Well, good for you.
I got my plum colored one on, or whatever you want to call this. Purple.
It's pretty. Celtic, you're right. You can place them to help stretch the canning, but the problem is both of my freezers, I can't get another thing in. I had to take some stuff out in order to get one closed because it was building up frost around it's a deep freeze. It was building up frost around the bottom, so I had to do something else. Thank you, Susie.
Hey, Dean, how you doing there, big guy?
Yeah, Ellie says hi, and Pete says hi.
Yeah, I got to catch up here.
Anyhow, I've got a lot of
Brandon and
tomatoes.
Grandma, hi there. And Sean, hi there. Good to see you in from Alaska. Oh, boy. And Ellie, hi, Ellie. Whew. Give me a chance to get my breath here.
KC, hello, welcome. Trip back from Louisiana was not bad. Between where I started and Houston, it was so hard rain that I had to drive 20 miles an hour on I-10. But once I got to this side of Houston, it dried out and it was smooth sailing. I went 90 almost the whole way. So I made up the time I lost, and I got home just about time.
You can do that here in Texas without too many. Your odds are still pretty good. You're not going to get stopped. But
Yeah.
well,
And my GPS tells me when there's speed traps ahead. So
does it really?
Yes, it does.
I told you that?
Yes,
Huh.
it does.
Huh, that's pretty
Celtic,
good
you had a
GPS.
rough night? Oh, I'm sorry.
What's
I
going
hope
on?
you feel better. Yeah, and
What's
Susie,
going on,
90.
Celtic?
I have a lead foot. So
Tell you what, though, 90
10 gallons of tomatoes in the
On,
freezer last year waiting to get enough to clean.
on the interstates here in Texas, that left lane is, they'll blow you out. They will blow you out.
The legal speed limit most of the way home is 75. So 90 is only 15 miles over the speed limit. They usually won't stop you for that unless they're running a speed trap. And like I said, mine told me where I came to the speed trap, so I just put my foot down and went. Miles, not kilometers, Casey. I looked down at one point and I saw I was going 136, and it flipped me out until I realized that my speedometer flipped from miles to kph. I got a big scare. I was going 136 and I went, what? Then realized what it was.
That was only about 70.
Yeah, I know. I knew I wasn't speeding, but I looked down and it said 136. So
Yep.
scared me to pieces.
Yeah,
I don't
they're
mind 90, but that's a little fast.
the area around Houston there being right on the bay, the rainfall that comes in there is really awesome. Whenever I can't remember which hurricane it was here, 2 years ago, that just smacked Houston upside the head.
Yeah.
They dropped record rainfalls, and some cases they had like 48 inches of rain. And they're still haven't recovered from it here almost 2 years later.
Celtic had his bad night because he had bad back pain.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Celtic. Yeah, I can relate to that.
I have a hard time even getting it up to 55.
Well, you wouldn't do well here in Texas, I'll tell you that, unless you were on the access road.
Yeah, even some of in the city streets, you go 55 easy. Some of the 5 and 6 lane downtown streets the arteries go from downtown out are 6 and 8 lanes wide, and there you go 55 on them all the time. Don't even think about it.
Yeah, I'm really glad to have Kate back from her trip. I had a rough time while she was gone, folks. It was awful. It was awful.
Baby.
I almost starved to death. I had to do for myself and had to put the birds together to bed on my own. Oh boy, that was a chore. Yeah, I was glad to get her back.
Lisa, I drive that fast on the farm to market roads. I just have a real heavy foot.
Sean says that using a turn signal in Texas is a sign of weakness.
Well, at least we're not doing what I used to do. I used to give the old hand signals. So.
Yeah, well, I did that with my first car, my 1931 Model A, whenever I was taking my driver's test, which I took in that car.
Right.
Of course, I had to use my arm signals for turns and stops and all that crap. And I was just barely 16 years old and driving a 1931 Model A for my driver's test. And the guy that was giving me the test had more questions about my car than he did about my driving. So that was kind of cool. I had him distracted with my car because that whole thing used to get a lot of attention. But I passed, by the way. I did pass on my first go, so
Lisa
which was
Johnson
good.
used
I'd been driving since I was 10, so I should have known how.
Lisa Johnson used hand signals when she took her driver's test too.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, I in some
don't
ways I
remember.
predate turn signals. Yep.
I know I had turn signals on my car, and I don't remember if they wanted me to use hand signals or not. Oh well, I knew how to use them. I'd use them on my bike. I'd go down the road on my bike. If I was going to turn, I'd give a hand signal.
Yeah, I did too. I did too. That's, you know, I've always tried to be a good driver.
Or rider.
True.
So what's going on with you guys?
Yeah, what's up today, folks? What are we doing?
North Shore
Hi there,
Crepsteader.
North Shore.
Hello, hello. It's good to see you. You take your roast test
With your state cops. Oh, wow.
Well,
Guess they give you a little bit of...
the DPS uses sometimes use state troopers here too. Depends on who's on duty. Just loading a video from my flea market finds. I got this. Oh, I love flea markets, North Shore. I am a flea market fool. As a matter of fact, I've gotten to the point where I can't allow myself to go anymore because I got enough stuff I could have my own flea market. I don't need more.
Well, this is not a good time to be going to flea markets.
Right.
But
Sean says they had to know hand signals for the written test, but that was back in '78.
yeah.
Laundry day for you, that and editing. Aha.
Yeah, I've got to work on Kate's video today.
Didn't get too much, Miss Kate, but I did get some good things. Oh, good for you. I guess you are happy to be home, Susie, but all the things that you posted about your trip and your birthday celebration look wonderful.
Where did she go? Do you know?
If you hadn't asked me, I could have told you. Susie, tell him where you went. I have forgotten. I'm sorry. Oh, Thrifty, I will definitely do that. Thank you. I will
Burlington
watch
Coat
them.
Factory. Yeah, okay. Ah, Kitty Hawk. Yeah.
There we go. If he hadn't asked me, I could have told him, but when he asked me, it just went right out of my head. It was like, oh, well. Yeah, I do too. And you know, David turns autocorrect off on everything he owns, but he's the world's best speller, so he doesn't need anything like that. Hello from the Middle East. I'm glad to meet you and welcome. I'm not sure how to go about saying your name. Uaus. We're glad to have you. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Just came out of Burlington Coat Factory. Put out 2 videos on my channel. Please go watch it. We definitely will.
United Arab Emirates. That's
Celtic, you get rest and get your feet up. Take some aspirin or something to help with the pain.
yeah. Take it easy there, big guy. Try to get down, get some rest, get back on your feet.
What's been my best find at flea markets or garage sales?
Wow. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I get a lot of stuff there.
best find. That's a tough one. It really is because.
I know.
Well, no, it wasn't a flea market, but one of the best things I ever found was, you remember that show that we went to in the knife and gun show in Tallahassee where I got that big old knife?
Mm-hmm.
That I consider to be I got that thing for $20.
You want me to go show them?
Sure, bring it over. I'll show it to
I'll be
him.
right back, folks.
I got this is a giant Bowie knife, and it's pretty accurate reproduction actually. A lot of people get they call them Bowie knives, and they're not really, because Bowie is actually a style, and it's got some particular features that should be on there that a lot of Bowie knives don't have. But this this little baby here, if I ever get into a knife fight, I think I'll be able to defend myself. And it's sharp.
He keeps it sharp.
I took it through my sharpener and honed it up pretty good. It's not scary sharp. Now, scary sharp to me is a definition where you can literally shave the hair on your arm with it. But
That's why he keeps my kitchen knife.
But a Bowie knife, by definition, pretty much has this shape. Now, sometimes this is a little more curved right here. But one of the things about a Bowie knife is this little thing right here, this tang.
Hi, Weetree.
that is a...
Weetree says, nice toothpick.
Yeah, exactly. This is a feature of Bowie knives that a lot of folks don't put on there. And its function was to hang up your opponent's blade. Because if you got their blade down in here and then you twisted, they would either twist the blade out of their hand or actually break it. And that was a trick that was peculiar or specific to this knife. But that one cost me $20, folks. And I've had this thing for, 10 years now, probably?
Weetree has 2 of them.
Yep. And
I have one that I use in my gardening, too.
Yeah, hers is a K2 knife. Yours is a K2 knife.
Right.
Which is a wicked knife, by the way. But this one this one I picked up for $20. So that was, and it still hasn't corroded. So I figured it would rust up pretty quick, but it's stayed in pretty good shape.
The best deal I ever got, or the most unique thing I ever got, was when we were in Tallahassee. I decided to do a really big freeform garden out back near the fire pit. And I saw on Pinterest a garden that they had taken dinner plates and buried them halfway in the ground and surrounded the garden with it. So I went and got all kinds of beautiful china plates that at the flea market. They would sell 2 here and 5 there and all. I probably got 30 or 40 plates
easily.
total.
Yep.
And it was wonderful.
Yep. Casey, the purpose of that other den in there again is to knock your opponent's knife blade aside. I've never been in a knife fight, but luckily.
Hopefully never will.
That was the Bowie knife originally was.
Hi, Mark.
Was strictly a fighting knife, and it had some very good features. Hey, Weetree, how are you?
It was really pretty, North Shore. It turned out much better than I expected.
Mark, hi there. I didn't see you slip in, big guy. So
that's a knife. Duly smashed. Thank you, North Shore. Let me get mine. If it's over there, let me get it.
What, your K2 knife?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tried to take this one away from her. She wasn't having nothing to do with it. I wanted it, but she wouldn't give it up. So she ruins it, digging in the dirt with it, and it's a fine knife. This is kind of a Vietnam era knife. It's a survival knife. As you can see, it's got this back here is pretty wicked actually, because this is actually pretty sharp on these little edges here, which obviously is like a saw. But this is a very wicked knife, but it's also a survival knife in that here in the handle, it's got a little survival kit.
Hooked up in there.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get it out or not, but anyway, it's got.
You want me to try?
Yeah, your fingers are a little small. Maybe you can reach it. But it's got tools in there that are quite useful. One being a compass. This is up in the handle here. You got a compass in there.
The little bag it's in is falling apart.
Yep, you got a compass, and generally you've got some string, some thread, like a needle, and quite a few other things. Really, I'm not going to open this up. I don't think.
Matches.
Generally, yeah, it's got some matches in there. Generally, it's got a needle and some thread for like sewing up wounds. Not necessarily material, but
I need to treat those matches too. I have a whole big kitchen box of matches that I've coated with candle wax so that they won't be hurt by water.
Knives similar to this were pretty much standard issue to those going out into the field, like in Vietnam. If you were going out to do what they call LRPs or long range patrols, you carried one of these.
I like it for gardening because it's got the saw on one end, it's got the nice sharp knife blade on the other, and it's got a real strong blade that I can poke down into the Texas hard dirt and wiggle things around and get it started. Does it need to be sharpened again?
Yeah, it does. It needs to be sharpened real bad.
But I love it.
Pretty dull.
He was horrified when he found out he was going to use it for gardening.
Yeah, well.
Hey, it's a knife that's supposed to be a tool.
But it's a good knife.
You have to have a good knife if you're going to be digging in the dirt with it. You don't want to get a cheap one; it'll break off.
I tried to take it away from her, but she wouldn't have nothing to do with it. So I said, "Well, okay."
Somewhere a mate gave me before he went home to New Zealand. We gave him a 30-man haka at the airport.
I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm not sure what a kukri is, nor am I familiar with a haka. That must be a Southern Hemisphere speech, I guess, huh? Yeah, it's a pretty nice little gardening knife for Kate.
You can
so
put it by yours and I'll put it away afterwards. I love having good quality tools. If I'm going to do something, I want a tool to match the chore. That one matches the chores. I can use it to cut heavy weeds. I can use it to cut down small branches. Yeah, that thing broke off. It had a little string thing that went around my wrist that went through a hole in the handle and the string fell apart.
Well, that's easy to fix. Just a piece of rawhide through there would fix that. I was looking at the maker's mark on here. It's called a U.S. General.
They want to know if we subscribe to BC Truck, BC Blades. I've never even heard of them.
Nope.
We got these at our mine anyway at a flea market. We got yours at a flea market too, didn't we?
Well, no, it was a gun and knife show at Tallahassee.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, it was and like I said, I was walking by and I looked down there and I thought, wow, that's a humongous knife. And the guy sold it to me for $20. So, in essence, it's a cheap ass knife, but it's
Hi, Tinker's wife.
Worked for me. The steel probably isn't all that great, but to me, this is one of my weapons that I have hidden around the house, all over the house.
Flame.
I've got various things that if I need them, they're kind of not necessarily concealed, but they're kind of hidden in plain sight. Like this big knife here sits on the windowsill right by the door.
Right next to the samurai sword.
Yeah, and that's another one that I've got. And I've got a couple of walking sticks that are, the tall ones, kind of like what you would see.
Hiking staff.
Yeah, what you would see like people doing on a Volksmarch over in Germany. But I've got a couple of those stashed around the place, which make great weapons. I do have a couple of guns as well, but mainly I've got knives all over the place.
And they're nice and quiet if you have to use them.
That's right. And they, so I know where all of them are. I've also, told Kate where they are so that if we ever get broken into, if they don't,
she says we're sharing
too much information. Well, I figure these folks here, if they break in, I'll give them whatever they want. But yeah,
it's. Wait 5 minutes. Are we still talking about knives?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, we are, Casey. I guess I should quit. Anyway. I've got probably a half a dozen knives throughout the house. I've got one that's a fighting knife, and you want to get those? That's in there on my dresser, right behind my little valet. There's another knife. And then also in the drawer of my nightstand is another knife. Would you mind bringing both of those in? And if we're going to talk about knives, I might as well show you what I got. But I've got a katana, which is a samurai sword, and it's the real deal. It's not a replica. That one came to me through my dad. He gave it to me. He picked it up during World War II. It's one of the older knives. There's two different kinds of samurai swords. There's the long ones and the short ones. The long ones were the originals that were used way back in the day. And then whenever they got into the modern era, those long ones were kind of hard to manipulate and use. So they designed them shorter, and they made them somewhat shorter. And so that's what they generally carried during the war. Now this one here, this one is wicked. It's double-edged, and it might look small, but it is a lethal knife. And then this one is in my nightstand, if I ever need that. And this one, that, folks, right there is a lethal instrument. And what the hell do they call these? I've forgotten the name of them.
I can't tell you.
I've forgotten the name for this kind of, it's a fighting knife, but it's a...
A kuki is a knife used by the Gurkhas.
Oh, okay.
Like a boomerang.
Oh,
And
all
a
right.
haka is the Maori ritual you see at rugby matches.
Ah, all right. Okay.
Neat.
Yeah.
My all-time favorite kitchen knife, and Sean, you ought to recognize this one. And it comes with its own stand that's made from a
Antler bone or some kind of antler.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's they use those for, skinning out walruses and whales and all that sort of stuff up in Alaska.
And I just use it in the kitchen all the time. It's nice and sharp and easy to handle.
For some reason, I've forgotten the name of this knife, but it's a very...
You're right, Casey. You're right.
This thing is, again, this is wicked sharp. And the way that it's designed, see, it's got this hole right here. So it's designed to be used like this,
Sure.
or you can use it like this. And either way, it stays pretty good in your hand.
Ulu.
Now,
That's what he calls this.
this part right here, I don't know if you can see it. Where do I go? See that little point there on the top? Believe it or not, that's designed to hit your opponent in the head. Of course, it will penetrate the skull. But this is a deadly, deadly knife.
Casey,
And it will definitely cut you up.
My knives are used every day in cooking and gardening. They are purely working tools. But I'll tell you what, I absolutely love this thing. My mom has one. I used to have it, and she asked for it because it belonged to one of my sisters that passed away. And she asked for it because she wanted something of my sister's. So
I need to sharpen this one up.
I know.
Is this the one I gave you?
Yes.
This is definitely from Alaska. Whenever I was still over in Florida, one of my co-workers, a friend of mine, was going to Alaska. And I asked him to look around and find me one of these. And apparently, it was quite a journey. When he got back, he said he looked in several different places. Finally found, it cost me about $50, but finally found one. But he said he was on a mission to find that knife for me. And it's a great dicing knife. I'll tell you what, it's really great for dicing stuff because you can just roll it back and forth.
It is also excellent for butchering.
Yeah.
When I have a carcass that I need to get, especially chickens where you have little tiny areas to get into.
That's its original use, was used for, when they were skinning or,
butchering large
butchering,
animals.
walruses and seals and whales and things of that sort.
Me too, North Shore.
That's where these kinds of knives came to be. But as you can see, I have a fairly good variety of knives. Yeah, well, okay.
This is my knife. You gave it to me.
Well, yeah, I did.
You can't take it back now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use that constantly. It's one of my best kitchen knives. That and the great big cleaver that I have. I have two cleavers. One is giant and one's not quite so big. And I tell you what, you can chop something up real easy with those.
KC went clubbing last night. You got a hangover today, partner?
I used to do that a lot, Casey.
Yeah, we used to go clubbing.
That feels good. You went clubbing and got the seal.
Oh, okay. Well, I walked into that one, didn't I?
That's good, Casey. That's really
yeah, North
good.
Shore, I believe that if you go out there and you did an inventory of most preppers' places, you would find a lot of knives. And all I can say is that, whenever it gets right down to it, if you've got basic tools, knives and saws and hammers and hatchets, You got to have them. Yep.
See what Mark
Mark,
says?
yeah.
I agree, Mark. A knife that is dull is just not worth having.
My dad was a butcher for many years, and he's the one that taught me how to sharpen knives. So there were no dull knives in my house when I was a kid. And I, of course, kind of inherited that mindset. And basically, there are no dull knives in this house either. But they do get dull. But I've now got it's called a Ken Onion sharpening system that I've got that I use. It is really nice. I really enjoy doing my knives with that. It's a belt, kind of a sander sort of thing. But it's really a good quality one. And it's got different belts that I can put on there where I can rebuild. I could take a piece of raw steel and make a knife edge out of that. So, but the very fine honing strips are really good for bringing back an edge on her knives. So every now and
He's
then
rebuilt several of mine.
she brings me her knives and I just kind of take them back down to where they're good and sharp again. Whenever she doesn't want to cut with them anymore, I get them sharp for her. Gerber hunting knives. Oh man, those are great. Gerber makes some of the best knives around.
All.
Yep. Yep.
Isn't it funny, Tinker's Wife, how that happens? You get a really good knife and you don't want to use the cheap ones anymore.
Yep. Dull knives, they're right, Mark. Dull knives they're more dangerous than a sharp knife.
Yep.
You're absolutely right.
Especially if you know that you're using a sharp knife.
Yep.
Because then you know to really be more careful. I may do a video on just on the knives and be like, that would be awesome. I would love that.
Now that I look at what I got, maybe I should do the same thing.
You could.
Yep.
You could.
But like I said, these are in various places around the house just to
most of mine are in the kitchen or the garden.
Just to kind of be there. I've even got some right by my chair. I've got a desk that I have my computer on that's on wheels, so I can kind of wheel it around in front of my recliner. Yeah, I've got a couple of old-timer knives. I inherited a bunch of knives from my dad, pocket knives, buck knives mainly. A couple of his buck knives he has sharpened so much, the blades are deformed. Where you have a normal shape for a buck knife, they're concave because he's sharpened them so much.
Okay. This is my normal kitchen cleaver.
Well, that's
not real big, but it keeps it nice and sharp.
That's one I gave her.
And it's really, really wonderful.
It's a good knife. It is a good knife.
However, when I get busy and I really want to do the job right, I bring out this baby.
Yep,
this is a cleaver.
That one will do the job there. That one will do bones and everything else.
Yeah. This goes right through the bones when I'm cutting up a chicken. I don't have to worry at all. One hack and that chicken bones and all separates. And I absolutely love it. But it also needs to be sharpened again. I've been very bad about bringing them in and giving to him because I get busy and forget to do it.
We have one little crossbow, Mark. Kate wanted it just kind of as a toy. But it's a short one. It's a small one. And it works. It works pretty well.
Except I can't. Hold on.
I think the birds are going to get sprayed. Yeah. She's going after the water. And this one here is very near and dear to me. I like the guy that got this for me was one of the few people that I really got close to when I was working for the Agency for Persons with Disabilities in Florida before I retired. Real nice guy. Anyway,
about my crossbow, it's a lovely little weapon, but the problem is I have a great deal of trouble cocking it. It's just almost too hard for me to do. I have to do it over my knee and press down. And if you're trying to do something fast, that's not the way to do it.
Yeah, it's a good place for your crossbow. Thing I like about crossbows is they're quiet. Mm-hmm. They're nice and quiet.
We have only 16 thumbs up, fellas or girls or guys or
come on,
folks. But we only have 12 people here, so I can't complain.
Make sure you just Click the like button. That seems to be one of the few things that
Take care, Wee Tree.
that
Thanks for
YouTube
dropping by.
pays attention to. Thanks for coming by, Wee Tree.
That's not a knife.
That's a knife. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah, it is, and it's a wonderful tool. It
Yep.
really is.
And you know, in one way or another, every one of these has got its purpose.
Yeah, I think I would not fear coming up against somebody with something like that
Yeah.
as well.
Recurve bows. Well, now I've never been good with a bow and arrow. I tried, but I was a kid. I just never did really develop a love for it.
A compound bow, because those I have the arm strength to pull. Most of the others I'm just not strong enough to use. But a good compound bow with the pulleys on top and bottom I could use. And then I could get out there and practice, and I could get deadly again. I used to be really good with a bow and with a gun, but I haven't had a weapon that I could use in a long time.
You didn't have to squirt them, did you? Did you just scold them, or
I
did you squirt
squirted
them? Oh, did you? Okay.
All 3 of them. Casey, compounds are very nice, but I tell you, using a recursive is something very primitive that it takes you back to simpler time.
If I may ask, Casey, what's the draw strength on your recurve bow? Because that's the I like I said, I didn't use bows much when I was a kid, but I do recall that recurves are kind of graded on how much draw strength it takes to pull them back right.
When I was a kid, I made my own bow and my own arrows just so I could say I'd done it.
I never bothered
It wasn't
to do that.
very good, and it certainly was not accurate because the arrows were kind of like this, but I made them and I was pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, KC, though, if we get right back down to it, bow and arrow would be going right back down to the basics if you don't have gunpowder. I thought I felt something down there. Come on. There we go.
Kareem must be here for a visit.
Hello, big boy.
Hello, Kareem.
Hello, Kareem. You want to come up here and say hi? Can you move the laptop over a little bit? I can see over here. Not that it's important, but
where do you want it to go?
A little bit to your right so we can get him in the picture a little more.
About as far as it's going to go.
Okay, all right. Well, then get up here, big guy. You can sit up there. There you go. Sit up there. There you go.
Got hit in the head.
There you go.
You got me in the face.
If you're going to sit in here, you can sit up there.
50 to 60 pounds, Casey says.
Yeah, that seems to be about the norm, I guess. That'd be way too much for you.
Yes.
And anymore, too much for me too anymore. But yeah, we haven't had him on here in a couple of weeks.
Last week he was many miles away.
Yep, but he loves being on camera. That's all there is to it. He knows what's going on here. Wow, 120-pound draw. That's now English longbow. That's a bow. That's
taller than I am. Of course, everything's taller than I am, but.
Yep. You're right, Mark. You're right, North. That is a serious bow. Yep. Not something I don't think I could ever master that, to be honest with you, but my compliments to those who can.
I might have tried when I was younger and I knew I had the arm strength to pull it, but now I'm not sure I have the arm strength to stand it up and hold it, much less to draw it.
So, Kareem, what's up? Peekaboo. 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 Peekaboo.
Good boy.
What's the pirate say? What's the pirate say? Pirate say arg.
He's busy flirting with me.
Arg. Yeah, pirate says arg. Peekaboo.
I tell you what, Next to David, I think the dog missed me more than anybody else in the house.
Oh, they all the critters missed her.
I think they did, but I think the dog missed me more.
They
than
pretty
anybody
much
else.
left me alone the whole time she was gone. They pretty much showed me where I stand in the house.
I'm sorry. Okay, see, the only thing I know of going on in Texas is we're having the swing back second trial of COVID-19. We got a big thing
Yeah, we had a
all over
huge,
the state on our
big
telephones
surge.
telling us stay inside. It's
Day
on the
before
rise
yesterday,
again.
they sent out pretty much a statewide message, I think, to every cell phone in the state. And stay the hell in. Ain't over yet.
And it made me really
Which
happy that I got there and to besides and back.
Yeah,
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I was glad to get my Kate back and get her off the road and out of the public eye. And I'll tell you what, the way I figure it now, I've kind of revised my estimates. I think the whole year is shot. I believe this is going to end up not. It may peak before the end of the year, but our whole year is shot.
I hope it peaks before the end of the year because I have a trip in October.
Well, I think there'll still be some traveling and things of that sort, but I mean, as far as being a public health concern, the whole year is going to be.
It's going to be the
your right arm.
Year.
Your left arm is bigger than your right from holding on to that bow. Yeah.
In South Africa, they banned alcohol and cigarettes during the locking, and as a side effect, crime went down.
They've been finding that a lot here in this country too. That crime rates have gone down.
There are too many people in this country that smoke. I think that would be a very difficult thing to do.
So I'm assuming, Amy, that's you? Oh, she just uploaded a video? Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm sorry you were exposed. I hope Rachel wasn't.
So I may ask, Amy, how did that happen? Was it just... Oh, Brett. Okay. Hi.
Were you at work when it happened, Brett?
Well, exposure doesn't necessarily mean you'll get it. I'm assuming y'all are going to get tested and stuff. And I guess if you were exposed, does that mean you can't work? Well, thanks for letting us know that Kate wasn't affected by the exposure.
Rachel here, a daughter Cheyenne. Oh, no.
Oh, Cheyenne tested positive, huh?
Is she still working or is they making her stay home? By the way, David is going to be working on my gumbo video. It should be coming out in the next day or two.
Well, not your gumbo, your roux video.
Rue, I'm sorry, right, Rue. He has to wait until Tuesday to get tested, but he's off work.
What are you trying to do up there, big boy?
I hope everything's okay, guys. I'm going to start praying hard for you.
No kidding, yeah.
And I hope Cheyenne doesn't get sick. I hope she just was exposed, but she's okay.
Yeah, this thing is turning into a hell of a lot more of a hazard than it should have been, I'll tell you that. Our national reaction to this has been just absolutely disgusting.
Casey, I'm sorry, it's Rue, not gumbo. I'm
Just
still not very
disgusting.
good at making Cajun food. I can't keep straight what's what.
What you doing there, big fella? Oh, what you doing?
Wasn't it fun, Casey? I really enjoyed it. Learned a lot while I was there, too. It was
I'll tell
a lot
you,
of fun.
in the roux video, I've still got to piece it together, but it's a very good tutorial on how to make roux. So, and granted, it took an hour or more to do it, but the way that they filmed it, I think I can get it down to where it's about between 15 and 20 minutes and still have all the segments together and all the advice that needs to be in there.
Yes, I do. I can't say it, but I know it.
What are you doing? Can I have a kiss?
Well, that when Amy was teaching
Good
me
boy.
how to make roux, she
Good
had
boy.
so
Come on.
much knowledge, and it just
Come on.
came pouring out of her. There was so much to
Get up
learn,
there.
so much information,
Get up
and
there.
we got a lot of it on the video.
No,
so
I want you over on
when
this side.
when he
Come on.
gets it finished, if y'all are watching,
Ah, don't you be doing that.
you want me to get him?
Well, I want him on this shoulder, but he won't stay over there. All right, just stay there. You get too frisky, you're going back on your cage, big boy.
Yeah, you be nice, or you're going to get in trouble.
Yep. Okay, so
Kate shared plenty of knowledge with us too. It was a real sharing time for all of us. That I've talked to Susan a couple of times, and even she said she learned a lot. So.
There was a lot of reciprocity.
Yes.
Oh,
And
big shake.
all of my plants that I brought back are looking great. They all are healthy. So, roux is the base for stews and gravies and soups and things like that. Basically, it's flour and oil that you cook at a very low heat until the flour is cooked.
Hey, stop that.
It's kind of like the base for a gravy. A lot of people will make a short roux by just putting butter and flour in the pan and cooking it a little bit.
What?
But what I learned was traditional roux.
Yeah. Peekaboo.
Yes,
peekaboo.
she did, didn't she? Amy kept saying having me there was like having her grandmother back. I'm not quite old enough to be her grandmother, but I am old enough to be her mom.
Well, I know Kate has been talking a great deal about her time with y'all there, Brett, and she had a wonderful time.
It truly was a trip of a lifetime. It truly was.
Yep. I wish I could have been there.
Yeah, maybe
in October. If we could find somebody to take care of these birds, I might could swing it. Because I can sit behind the wheel of a car forever.
Well, what we need to do is we need to have them get their front porch made and their ramp made.
Well, I can get upstairs. I mean, it's not impossible. I could still get around just using my walker.
I agree, Casey. It's amazing how things do.
I guess a lot of them.
A lot of them are called Cajun, Casey.
I'm going to defer on that one because I don't want to use Creole, Cajun, Louisianan.
Butter, water, and plain all-purpose flour. A lot of people do that too, and a lot of people just use butter and flour.
I think the real roux is kind of like what they did with oil and flour.
And the nice part about what I did is it is shelf stable. You cook it, you put it in your bottle, you put it on the shelf in your pantry, and it'll be there forever. Once you open it and start using it, you do have to keep it in the refrigerator. But the oil separates a little bit from the flour and makes a layer across the top that seals it from the air so it doesn't go bad. Classic description: a cooked mixture of fat and flour in equal weights by proportion. There are many variations on this: a tight roux, slack roux, blonde roux, roux noisette, etc. Well, mine was a mahogany roux because it got so dark it was mahogany in color.
What are you doing up there, Kareem? You trying to tear up my shirt? Don't do that.
What are you doing?
He's being ornery. He wants to.
You can come over there. You can come over here. Just like that.
There you go.
Yeah. Is that better? Roux is relative to reason. I agree, Tinker's wife. Hello. Hello. Peekaboo to you too. Yeah, peekaboo to you too. Well, I know I really, really enjoyed learning how to make the traditional Louisiana roux. It was awesome.
Well, Casey, thanks for coming by. Always glad to have you here. Hope you have a good day. Take care of yourself.
Lesson learned, don't mess with these people.
I may be old, but I'm still deadly.
You take care, Casey, and we'll see you next week.
Oh boy.
Are you okay? Yeah, that's my boy.
There you go.
French chefs all made it.
Three French chefs and all made it different. I know when I spent several years inspecting shrimp in a little town called Biola Battery, which was south of Mobile, Alabama. And I was doing that for the military, and we were buying shrimp from this company. And the guy that owned the company was a cook. I mean, he enjoyed cooking for all of his other fish guys, all of the owners and operators of some of the big shrimp boats and stuff. And he had a huge kitchen. And every day he'd go in there and he'd cook up some kind of seafood. And when he would make roux, of course, it took him a long time. He had this huge, I mean, like cast iron fry pan. And he had two chef's ranges. So one of the burners that he had was probably that big around.
Was it the center burner?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then it had 4 around it. So it was the center burner. And he would get that thing on there, and I swear to God, he'd probably use at least a half a gallon of oil and a 5-pound bag of flour. And he would make roux. And there was a janitor that worked there, an older black guy. Can't recall his name. But I think Ficarino just kept this guy around because he was funny. He was old. He was disabled, but he just putzed around all day. He didn't really do a lot. But Ficarino would put him to work stirring the roux. So this guy would stand in there for that hour and do nothing but stir that roux. And oh man, some of the stuff that Fick used to put out there when he'd cook, it was good food because it was right off the boats. I mean, right off the boat.
Are you happy?
So yeah. I used to enjoy that. Yeah. Yep, Thrifty VG, God bless us all, and then have a great day. That's all we ask for every day is first thing I do pretty much in the morning is, well, first and last, is say thank you for another day. And that's about as, anything beyond that is gravy. Yep.
Yeah.
So what else is going on? What's going on with you folks? I know we've been talking about some strange stuff here. You did? A lipstick mark?
And he's got lipstick on his beak. It's a good thing you don't have a girlfriend. She'd be jealous.
So how are things going with y'all? I mean, Brett, I hope you'll keep us posted about the status on the COVID for you and your family. We'll be
Susanna, hi.
Praying for you with great
thank you.
With great feeling. Let's just hope that you don't, being exposed and coming down with it are two different things.
Ah, cool.
Oh, fishing, huh?
Fishing in the pond I showed you the pictures of.
Yep. Your property, Brett, your property there is beautiful. It's really nice. I have a great picture of you on your mower. You look like you were ready to beat that grass into submission. I mean, you were, I'm going to try to figure out a way to work that into the video in some way just to show you. You look very determined. I'll put it that way. But yeah, your property there is beautiful. And you guys have done, your gardens are just beautiful. Just really nice. Yeah, Kate snuck that picture in. You're right, but
Mark wants to know if shrimp are the same thing they call langostino.
Langostinos are a little bigger, I think, but yeah, shrimp and langostino is kind of the same thing, just by the other name.
Well, at least, Brett, I showed you the picture. I didn't sneak out with it and then spring it on you from online. Yeah,
please do post some updates for us, Brett, because you will be in our thoughts and prayers. Believe me. Very much so. Yeah. Very much so.
I got lipstick on you again.
Yeah. Well, technically prawns are bigger. Once you get up,
shrimp because they're small.
Once you get up, the grades of shrimp go by the number of shrimp per pound. And once you get up into prawn size, you're talking about, 15 or less to a pound. And oh man, when you get into the under 10s, you're looking at a shrimp that looks more like a lobster tail.
Brett, is Abby fishing too? That would surprise me.
Why, Abby doesn't fish?
We didn't talk about it. She's just not a real outdoorsy kind of person. She leaves that to her dad and mom. Are you happy now? Yeah.
Oh.
Well, guys, I just looked up. Abby's an introvert and afraid of the sun. Yeah.
Afraid of the sun. Okay.
She's just happier inside in the air conditioning.
Me too.
I can't say that I blame her. Anyway, guys, it's almost 2, and I think we're going to cut it short today and not go an extra half hour.
We've got
I've
plans.
got buku tomatoes I need to get in jars and in the canner. So, yes, I see you shaking your head yes at me.
Yeah, you're a big guy. You're a big guy. Yeah, you are. You're a big fella. You want to step up?
There you go.
There you, oh, what? What is that? You going to lunge at me? All right. Yeah. All right. Peekaboo, what a handsome fella you are. Peekaboo, what a handsome fella. Yeah, give me a kiss. Mwah. Up you go. There you go.
Glad I got to visit a bit. Yeah, I'm glad you did too. We love you too, Brett, very much.
Yep.
Mark said,
We will definitely be thinking about
I
you.
remember an Aussie pal telling me that what we call shrimp and what they call shrimp are worlds apart. But they like to show off.
Well, you start talking about oxymorons. Jumbo shrimp. What is that? What is a jumbo shrimp?
That's jumbo and shrimp.
Okay. So anyway, folks, thank you for coming by.
Patty, it was good to see you.
As always, we will be thinking about you all week. And hope everybody has a safe week and
We'll see
be
you next
blessed and take care of yourselves.
Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.